Hell nah, man. There's no way that's how they end episode 4 of Loki season 2. That shit was crazy. That's a crazy cliffhanger. If you couldn't tell, I just got done watching episode 4 of season 2 of Loki, and we got to talk about it. Quick spoiler warning, I am going to be recapping the entire episode and giving my honest spoiler-filled thoughts of the episode, so if you're not trying to be spoiled, make sure you drop a like, follow, but come back after because I need to hear your thoughts. Pick up this episode right where the last one left off at the end of time, with Ravonna Renslayer and Miss Minutes left with He Who Remains Dead Body. Now, if you remember, Miss Minutes says she had a secret to tell Renslayer, so Miss Minutes shows Renslayer the visual of that audio recording that Loki was listening to of He Who Remains saying that Renslayer was his right-hand gal. But she shows her that He Who Remains made her forget all of her memories and everyone at the TVA to forget all their memories. So now we got a new threat, Miss Minutes and Renslayer. But back at the TVA, Victor Timely is now there. And I thought it was so funny how he just looks around and it's just his face everywhere. He learns the history of himself. But Loki and the gang need his help to fix the loom. They introduce Obi to Victor Timely and they kind of fanboy over each other and ask for each other's autographs because basically their life's work is based on each other. It's like this weird loop. But it's here that Obi explains their plan for fixing the loom. It's essentially the same plan they had for Loki in the first episode of him fixing his time slipping. It shoots something at the loom to make the rings bigger so that more timelines can flow through. They have a mini discussion of like who should go out there this time because the radiation is like 10 times as bad. It seems like Loki's up for the challenge. But this won't work without the help of Victor Timely, who luckily has a prototype that can help them fold through with this plan. Then we get this pretty interesting scene between Mobius and Sylvie, where Mobius is like, let's just go get some more pie while we wait. And she calls him out on his shit like, how can you just stand there and sit idle? You have timelines and real people dying. Shit gave me chills for real. The writing in this show is... So we pick back up with Dox and her locked up friends as B-15 tries to convince her that the TVA is worth saving and they still need her help. You can tell Dox truly cares about the TVA. Sylvie accidentally ends up in the pie room where her and Loki have a conversation of how much they've changed and how much Sylvie has changed, and he even compares her to Thor, the first movie, when he goes to Earth and gets humbled. And he sees that change in Sylvie. She still doesn't know if the TVA is worth saving or not, and she's still sitting on that fence. Back with Dox and her captive friend, Renslayer and Miss Minutes show up to try to get Dox and her gang to help them seize control of the TVA by promising them lives on the timeline after they're done, which obviously intrigues Brad, who loves his life as an actor. But Dox and her loyalists actually refuse this. They would rather die than join Renslayer, which just shows you, damn, you down for me for real? But then they all get squished in that damn box and this shit was haunting. They don't show anything, but you hear some sounds. Just the thought process alone is damn horrifying. Back with the science bros, or I guess time bros, they make the device they need to fulfill their plan, but Victor gets intrigued with some hot cocoa and wants to go try some. B-15 walks into the horrific aftermath of the scene in the holding cell and also notices that Miss Minutes is the one who's making all their temp pads out of whack. Back with Timely getting some hot cocoa. It's actually a cute little moment where he offers some to the other TVA agent, but he gets pruned by slick back Brad bitch ass. All my boy wanted was some hot cocoa. And yeah, I would have that same face too. You know you're in some trouble. Obi finds out that Miss Minutes is the one who's making everything go haywire as they return to the scene of the crime to find no Victor Timely, where Brad takes him, and I gotta say the way he's holding him feels racially motivated. Sit down in his damn chair. Back to your two lovers, Renslayer and Miss Minutes, whose reaction is just so damn hilarious. They want to know where his device is that he made. When we cut back to that scene in the first episode, and of course, like we all expect, it's a closing of the loop moment with Loki pruning himself. But who was on the other end of that call? It was just you down with OBB? Yeah, you know me. He was just looking for them to help reboot the system, which will allow them to use their magic in the TVA. We cut back to the war room and Victor Timely's just stalling for time. By the way, Miss Renslayer would. The rebooting of the system makes Miss Minutes glitch out, but this shit was hella funny when she said, you are not him to Victor Timely. Renslayer sends Brad's bitch ass out to go check out what's happening. He gets enchanted by Sylvie, and then he goes to have a chat with Renslayer, who he then proceeds to prune. Rest in piss, bozo. Coming back to Obi and the gang, Loki and Sylvie bring Victor Timely to the machine, which he needs to stick his head in so they can get his aura and open up the doors, which they are successful in doing. Loki has a look at the loom and all the timelines outside, and it looks horrific. Shit's about to implode, explode, all of this explodes, which is when Victor Timely says that it should be him that goes out there because he's the one who's most knowledgeable with all the technology. So he suits up, but as he's about to go outside, radiation turns him into fucking string cheese, and that's it. Buddy's dead. Another Kang variant. We get a shot of the loom explode, all the energy coming towards them. We end the episode on this eerie shot of Loki just looking on, and that's it. They just leave us here hanging. What happened?